All right. So, welcome to Tea with Honey. It's your girl, HoneyDaVinci, and I'm back with another video. So, today we'll be doing another segment of the review. I have my co-star here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
It's your boy Jay Jeezy from Big's Life the Podcast. Catch me on Spotify. Catch me on Apple Podcasts. You already know.
All right. So, today we'll be speaking about pedophilia in the industry. So, I feel like there's always been this weird undertone, elephant in the room when it comes to pedophilia in the industry. Whether it's the music industry, whether it's acting, whatever it is, it's always like this weird undertone. Even in freaking gymnastics, we have the doctors touching the girls that's freaking, the touching the little girls, and that's not me laughing at the situation. I just laughed because his microphone just made a sound or whatever. But it's always been this weird undertone that hasn't been spoken about. What do you feel about the situation?
Well, personally, I feel like the situation, the pedophilia type situation, always been around. You know what I'm saying? Since the beginning. But I feel like it's like a hush hush keep secret in the entertainment world. You know what I mean? And it's sad, but it stems from child stars, kid stars.
Yeah.
That's where it starts from. There's rumors of parents pimping their kids off to directors, producers.
Right.
One incident, that I can remember is one of my former best actors when I was younger, Corey Haim. Growing up, so I used to watch all his movies. And then as it got older, it started to come out that he was molested, by other actors and etc.
There was a circle of older men, and they all had either their own power or connections to great power that surrounded themselves around this group of kids.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded by them. They were everywhere like vultures.
But it's sad now, because you really got to realize, Hollywood is really Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess it's a demonic place. And do you really want your children to go there?
Yeah. And, I've watched actual documentaries on it. There's this documentary called An Open Secret, right? I watched this like maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, where it was basically like a sting operation against people in the industry who were, bigger than producers. Like, they were bigger than the producers who were like literally scouting people's kids' pictures off the internet and basically like in a group chat texting each other, talking about some, ooh, look at his mouth, like little boys, look at his mouth, he'd be perfect, and but they're not talking about on TV. They're talking about like like things. And in the documentary, there was actually a situation where this kid star was recruited, and they were talking about how these pedophiles would groom your kids. They wouldn't just groom the kids, they will also groom the parents.
Typically, a predator is grooming many children at the same time, and they're at different levels of the grooming process. Because a predator knows, like any tiger in the jungle, they're not going to catch every rabbit. They just need to catch the weak ones.
So they would get the parents to, see how they interact with their kids, make it seem like, oh, they're going to be like a big brother figure or whatever, and take them off to, become famous, and their kids have so much talent, and no, you can't come too because whatever the excuse is, and would have kids in these houses with grown men doing all of these violating, traumatizing things to themselves, to each other, and things like that. And it's just like overwhelming how many situations like this has been going on, and it's really just now being even taken a look at.
No, it's always been taken a look at, but again, it gets swept under the rug because, like you just said, these guys are bigger than the directors. So in the public eye, you know what I'm saying, they're fucking mega stars, you know, and mega stars can get away with anything basically, and you know nothing's going to happen to them. But once they stop being stars, that's when everything will start getting back to them. You know what I mean? But what you were saying was, as far as them getting groomed and everything, you got to realize a lot of those folks, they be letting their kids go to LA without them, you know what I'm saying, because they got the word of the producer or the director that they're going to be taken care of, but not knowing that in LA or when they're making a movie or making a show, all these parties that's going on, the drugs that's flowing, the sex that's going, you know, they're not getting those star roles because of their talent.
Everyone was promoted to drink. I never had one drink ever before in my life until I was at that MNC estate. I don't ever recall ever drinking. I mean, 14 years old, it wasn't the top of my list.
There was an after party. Michael Egan, Brock Pierce, Chad Shackley, and Mark Collins Rector were present. Drugs were made available to us, including Quaaludes, Valium, Somas, Vicodin, Demerol, marijuana, ecstasy, and more. Brock Pierce and Mark Collins Rector tried to push me into taking these drugs. I refused. They then offered me cocktails, which I accepted. I believe that they laced my cocktail with ecstasy.
You know what I mean?
And just to add on to that, you know how Harvey Weinstein had no, it wasn't Harvey Weinstein. It was this other guy. I can't think of his name. The one who committed suicide in jail. What's his name?
Oh, Jeffrey Espin? Jeffrey Espin.
Yeah, you know how he had that island? You know how he had that island?
Yep.
Well, before the island, well, it might not have even been before the island, because who knows how long that island has been here. But before then, there was this thing on Nickelodeon, right? Way back in the day, where I remember it was like a commercial for the shit where like these big celebrities, like, but young. When I mean young, I mean like 16, 13, 14 celebrity boys, specifically boys I'm talking about right now, would go to this house with these 40-year-old, 50-year-old men and live there with them for an amount of time. And even that got exposed for like people saying that they were touched. And one of the stars that stood out to me was the guy from off of was it Road Trip? I believe it was Road Trip.
Aiming their programming primarily for young people. It was a whole new concept.
The majority of young people today are not finding themselves reflected in television. We're creating content that specifically targets your needs, your wants, your desires.
We're creating a new form of entertainment to serve the global youth audience.
One of the first shows they produced was Chad's World. It was about a young boy who comes to live with this older man. It was a real example of art imitating life, their lives.
Welcome to your new world, Chad.
Jeez, you guys fixed it all up for me.
In fact, they even filmed Chad's World at their house, the MNC Mansion.
You got your own TV, phone, VCR, stereo, your own jacuzzi. You got the works.
Oh yeah, I think I'll be able to hang here.
It was fulfilling a dream.
You're gonna know him when you see him. He's been in a whole bunch of movies.
Don't forget, it ain't just the little, what I'm saying, Caucasian boys either. You know, everybody's favorite singer, Usher. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget, when he was underage, whatnot, his parents let him go stay with Puffy. You know what I'm saying? And where it was, you know what I'm saying, Puffy, you know, had a parties, whatever, and Usher lost his virginity, you know, at one of his parties. You know, and word came out that him and Usher, and word came out when Kevin Hart was interviewing or whatever, that Puffy and Usher slept in the same bed.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, I mean, damn, pause, but like, check this out.
I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up earlier than me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
He's a young, underage boy, and basically, I don't think that it was just hey, you want to, get with a girl. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, it was pressure. You know what I mean? Because a lot, like, same thing happened with Lil Wayne. Birdman said that, they still have parties, whatever, and Lil Wayne pressured Lil Twist to get with a girl.
I was fucking at 11. I had Nate at 15, nigga. I had my daughter when I was 15, nigga. It ain't cause you a male, it ain't cause you 15 you supposed to, cause you're young money. You're supposed to. Fuck that shit, nigga. I still fuck. I got raped when I was 11, Twist. I loved it. I ain't never pressed charges. I'ma do you like baby them did me. Yeah. I'll never forget that day. Yeah, no, they was all in the kitchen. I was scared. It was cool. There was about this many niggas and shit too in that bit. I never forget the word. Suck Lil Wayne, let dick.
You feel me? What I'm saying? These grown men are pressuring these kids that they're around to be with these females, you know what I'm saying? Even if they're not ready.
Right.
And
there's this misconception that boys are always ready. Like, there's this misconception, like, some boys are not ready.
No.
They're not ready. It doesn't matter that they're a boy and it's a girl, or even if they, like, you guys be thinking that it's cool for these little boys to be messing with these grown-ass women.
Or vice versa.
Like, some boys are not ready. Like, it's not cool. And if you see a boy who's not talking to girls yet, that does not mean that he does not like girls. Maybe he's just... What the fuck? Hold on. Something just happened to my phone.
You still
I'm
live.
sorry.
Nah, you good.
Hold on, we're still live. Hold on. One of my apps just popped up randomly. Don't be hating on me, Facebook. But anyways,
but you gotta realize it's vice versa too, yo, because even growing up.
Let me finish, because I was about to say something.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, some of these little boys are not ready, and they are looking up to you, and you're letting them down. You're ruining their experience with sex. Their first experience with sex is them being sucked on by a grown-ass woman who's probably done deep throated the whole industry, and now they're hypersexualized. They don't know what's going on with their body, and now these dudes are just out here smashing anything because they think that's what they're supposed to do, because you done train these little boys to believe that their whole identity is based around sex. Y'all need to stop doing that, because that shit is not cool. And you wouldn't want nobody doing that to your daughter, so you shouldn't want nobody doing that to your son. And I can't stand when guys act like that shit is, oh, he's a boy, it's different. No, it's not different. It's not.
Okay, but let me say this also, though. Even growing up in school, I done seen girls date guys that was way over age. You know what I'm saying? And they knew it wasn't right, but they still did it. You know what I mean?
I've experienced that as well. I've experienced that with friends, not me personally.
Exactly. And you go to school and a guy the same age as the girl try to talk to that girl, first thing she's going to say is, oh, I don't like guys that go to school. I like older guys. You know what I mean? Like, number one, how can you compete with that? You know what I'm saying?
All right, finish saying what you're saying, and then
You know what I'm saying? How can you compete with that? Because number one, if you were fucking 15 or 16 and she's 15 or 16, but she's dating somebody 21, 22, which, by the way, that is pedo status on the guy's part or the girl's part, vice versa, don't matter. But this person is got her own place, got a car, whatever. As a school person, how can you compete with that? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't even compete.
But that's the point. The point ain't about the boys competing, because, like, that's not what we're talking about. The point ain't about the little boys wanting to compete. The point is, Why was that little girl comfortable being around an older man in the first place?
That's true.
Nobody
too.
asked that question.
That's true.
Why
too.
is this girl saying, I don't like younger boys? I like old. Who's the older man that made her feel like that was okay?
Hold on, no.
Who?
Where did that
Because
start
it's
from?
probably a family member, and that's the sad truth about it. It's probably a family member, a uncle, a dad, a cousin, or whatever that done been touching on that girl, making her believe things, making her feel like she's grown, telling her that it's cute the way she act, or it might even be like a sister or a cousin who she's
That's all I'm about
watching.
to say. That's all I'm about to say. It starts from home.
Influencing her, exposing her to things, making her think, oh, you don't want none of these little young boys. They can't buy you shit. They can't do this. They can't do that. You need you an older guy. Da, 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 da. And now these girls is getting smutted out.
That's what I'm about to say. If regardless of what, it starts from home. Because, you know what I'm saying, if I have a daughter that age and she's dating somebody 21, 22, as a parent, you're going to know who they're dating. You're supposed to know who they're messing with. You know what I mean? I would want to know anybody who my daughter's messing with. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's 13, 14, 15. I don't care. I need to know. Because, again, for that reason, if my daughter is underage and a guy way older take a liking or interest in her, that's a problem for me. As a dad, I got to step in. But when that is happening, when them girls dating them dudes and the parents don't step in, you got to place the blame on that parents too, not just that older guy.
Yeah, but it starts with the older guy.
Oh,
because
it definitely starts with the older guy.
With the girl, with the victim, whoever the victim is, whether it's the boy or the girl, with the victim, yeah, it starts at home. But we're not excusing the actions of the person who's doing the actions. At the end of the day, that 21-year-old boy, man, whatever you want to call him, knows that a 13-year-old girl is off limits.
Yeah.
And we need to start teaching. We need to start teaching our kids not to mess with people older than them, because it's no different, first and foremost. And second of all, you fucking losers who want to mess with people younger because people your age know you're a fucking bum and don't want you. So you want to go to little kids because they're easy to manipulate. No, I'm dead ass serious.
You're spazzing.
No,
I like that. I know you are.
No, for real.
I know you are. And then you're and the funny part is because you're 100% right. And that's what makes me laugh, because that's right. The only reason why they're getting them young girls is because the people of their age know their worth and they're not nothing. That's why they find somebody who thinking they're all that because they got this or they got that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree 100% with you.
Exactly.
You know,
and then the problem is these older guys get into these girls' heads, and 9 times out of 10, these older guys gonna go for the prettiest bitch in the school, right? Or, you know, the girl who's already got the curves and has like the good body, which is probably the most popular girl in school. And so he might get into her head, and then the girls that's envious of the most popular girl in school, who's probably like a nerd or whatever the case is, or even just somebody who just regular, is going to look at that and be like, oh, she's popular, look at how she's living now, I want to mimic that. You know what I'm saying? We need to teach our kids as parents to understand, like, listen, any guy that's old as fuck that's trying to talk to you is a bum.
Exactly.
You know, we gotta really teach that shit to our kids.
But again, what you just said though, all of that. Now you just put all of that. Let's say on a street level. Now multiply that times 100, and you got what you got in the entertainment level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because these guys ain't just offering, oh, I got a house and a car. These motherfuckers are saying, I can make you a star. I can make you famous. I can make you rich. I can put you on here. You can have this commercial. You can have this movie, this show, but it's a price.
Right.
And the price is, hell, you got to do this, that, and the third to all of us or some shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of those child stars, they grow up and they turn to drugs or porn stars, or you know what I'm saying, they commit suicide or something else happened to them. You know, that's why if you really look at child stars, it's only a handful that make it out clean. and the rest that fucked up in the head. You know,
And the
Orlando
problem
Brown is a
is that
perfect
shit
it's a
is
perfect
known.
example.
Yo, that shit is so known, and it's like, yeah, people been knew about, but what I mean by nobody's been really paying attention is like until now is like nobody's been talking about it until really now. Cause I remember watching my favorite child stars go crazy and wondering like what's going on, and they would say like, oh, they can't handle the pressure of being a celeb. What's the pressure? They're freaking rich and can do whatever they want. Like, you know what I'm saying? And on top of the mental stress that they have to deal with of being perfect, on top of that, you getting touched, you getting raped, you getting whatever the case is by someone who just saved your life in a sense.
So so get back to that. So let's dive even deeper, because you just said you watch your favorite shows and stuff like that. I watched my favorite shows and not knowing what was going on until I got older, and you start really seeing shit on TV, like for instance on Nickelodeon. Now, if you go back and watch a lot of those Nickelodeon shows, you know what I'm saying?
Gross.
Exactly. Some of those shows, you could tell the director or the producer, whatever, he has a foot fetish, because a lot of those shows they dealing with the feet. You know what I'm saying? Doing shit with the feet. But then when it came out, is he was really a pedo, and he really do have a foot fetish, but he's incorporating that shit right in front of our faces, and kids is thinking, oh, it's funny, not knowing that could be a cry for help when the fucking people that is happening to on the TV.
Yo, freaking, whew, I freaking love this artist, and I'm sorry I'm even going to talk about this girl because I freaking love you, but Ariana Grande, she was on this show called Victorious, and they literally were serving child pornography in like a metaphoric way or whatever you want to call it. It was so weird. Oh my gosh. I was just watching a video clip of it. I'm going to post that shit when I edit this video of her with like a potato, and she's like, oh, I wonder if juice can come out of a pit. And she's like trying to squeeze it, but it's so sexual. It's so sexual. Like, it's like obvious sexual. And then it's like this video of her laying on the bed, like, can a girl drink water while laying down? And she's like pouring water all over. It's so sexual. Like,
but hold on. Now, I want you to think. She did all of that. She survived Nickelodeon's 2 shows, Victorious, Sam and Cat, did all that. Now look at her stardom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she endured some shit.
But she's also doing drugs as well.
A lot of them are doing drugs. Now, again, I applaud China McCain, because she just came out, you know, on video stating that, you know, Hollywood is starting to get to her, yo, where it's a lot of evil in it, and she's basically about to walk away. That's why this is the last season of Black Lightning. And China, if you know China McCain, she was an actor young on the Tyler Perry movies. You know, Tyler Perry shows. And she's talking about walking away from it all, saying that she'd rather have a regular job than continue to deal with the shit that's going on in Hollywood. For a black woman to say that, to walk away from the fame, the money, to say I would just have a regular job, that's really saying what the fuck is really going on in Hollywood. It's breaking people down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And mentally,
yeah.
And
it's so much with this Dan Schneider situation, from him having kids send their feet pics in, to him offering to give people foot massage, to the pictures of him with the kids in general. Like, there's footage of him it's a footage of Ariana Grande like playing around with one of her castmates on the ground. And then as soon as Dan walks into the room and she realizes he's there, her whole posture changed. She's like covering up and doing all this stuff. Like she instantly becomes uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, the body language immediately changed. Not even just with her, with the girl she was playing with on the ground. Her body language changed. Like, she just like was just like looking like.
Well, that was a rumor.
It's just.
That was a rumor. early 2000s, mid 2000s of Jamie Lee Spears. You know, if anybody who knows Jamie Lee Spears, she was the main star of Zoe 101. Now, they had to stop that because she had got pregnant. You know, now ain't nobody know who the dad was, not like that. Well, word was the dad was Dan Schneider. You know,
right, and that they covered
and
it
they
up
definitely
with some other. They had some other guy pretending to be
exactly.
the dad.
They definitely try to cover it up, and they was saying that the dad actually helped cover it up. Her dad, you know, and if you notice, Britney Spears, you know, she was another one that was a child star and just people saying she started going crazy and shit like that. I don't think it's going crazy. I just thinking that they're trying to gain their sanity back, yo, because I think they lost it.
Hey, Dan Schneider, I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
And their freedom.
Exactly.
Speaking of freedom, Amanda Bynes.
Exactly.
What is going on with Amanda Bynes, y'all? Because from what I've been researching, Amanda Bynes is basically being held captive by her freaking parents. Not like physically captive, but she done got sold. Her parents done basically signed her away. You know when they say sign your soul, sell your soul to the devil. When they say things like that, her parents done basically signed her away. She has no access to any of her money. She has no access to social media. She has to make fake accounts to speak out because her actual page that everybody sees with her brand, her name, and everything on it, it's her parents, or like, you know, maybe it's an accountant or whatever, a social media expert, whatever, running her page. And they have all these kids who they've touched and done these things to with these NDAs where they can't speak out. And then Amanda Bynes, who was very close with Dan Schneider, who had the Amanda Show, just like Zoe 101, who actually was at one of those camps that I was telling y'all about, because Dan Schneider and them had camps where they would have people bring their kids to the camp to recruit them. And they would tell the kids, hey, get into the hot tub with your best bathing suit on, and we'll see who has the biggest potential to be a star. Go to the pool, make sure you're in the pool, because we want to see who has the most star quality with them in the pool. And there's actually footage of Amanda and Dan Schneider in the pool together, and who did they say? Lindsay Lohan was discovered in the pool, and Megan Fox was discovered in the pool. And everybody gets discovered really big. It just so happens in the pool. You know how much shit can be going on right in front of you in a pool? I could be sitting right next to you in a pool with a whole bunch of people with my hand on your lap. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff under the pool without people even noticing. But again, that's where you got to realize, like, a lot of those parties is drug-filled parties. They serving them kids drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they're prepping these kids. I watched enough Law and Order SVU to know what's going on. Law and Order SVU, if you notice, they talk about everything from pedophilia and entertainment, what's going on, how can you see it, how can you not. They actually had an episode like that. You know what I mean? They had an episode just like that. And what you just said, how their parents and stuff like that. Now think about even back then with the Family Matters, the girl that played Judy. You know what I'm saying? Her parents took all her money. All right. And that fucked her up to a point where she had to grow up and she started doing porn. But then she stopped that, you know what I'm saying, and changed. So these parents are saying, all right, as long as you give us money, you can do whatever to our kids.
Yeah.
You know? And that right there is like a pedophile. It's like a pedophile's like ears gonna perk up.
Right, exactly. Speaking of that, the freaking Pussycat Dolls. Like, I watched the documentary on the Pussycat Dolls and I was blown the freak away. Because I watched it the same way I watched the documentary on freaking Danny D. Kane. I freaking love the music and I just wanted to watch it. Come to find out, these bitches getting pimped the fuck out all across the industry, and I'm like, whoa, these girls are prostitutes. What the hell is going on
tell you,
in this fucking
the
industry?
industry is a wicked place. You know what I mean? Like I told you, I told you off camera, but I'm gonna tell people I had a friend, and she knew a security guard for a rapper. You know, I'm not gonna say no names on here, but that security guard used to go to parties with the rapper, and these parties, you know, was like, it could be like album release party. You know what I mean? So downstairs, you know, everybody's celebrating the album release, but upstairs in the million rooms that's there was different stuff going on. You know, there'll be orgies, there'll be, you know what I'm saying, kids having sex with like producers and shit like that. There'll be same sex shit going on, like your favorite rapper is having sex with an executive or some shit like that, because they know that if they don't, then their career is over. So they'll choose their career over their dignity and shit like that. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna say no names, but he said that he walked in the room and seen an executive, you know, getting blown by the rapper, and he basically was told, this is basically, you know, just in case you get out of line, we got your videotape. So you try to get out of line, we will expose you, type shit. That's how they keep them in line. They blackmail them. Wow. So even if somebody's a kid and they get into the industry, you don't go in clean. That's why you don't leave clean. You know what I mean? And that's why you really got to start looking at your favorite rapper or favorite entertainers. You got to wonder, you're like, what the fuck did they do to get that role? Or, you know, this person can't really act, but this motherfucker's in a blockbuster movie. Think about that. I want you to really think about that. Like you just said, Megan Fox couldn't act. I'm sorry. She couldn't. But she was up in Transformers, a blockbuster movie, next to Shia LaBeouf, who another one is another teen, a child star who they said started going crazy and whatnot, yeah?
Even Macaulay Culkin.
Even Macaulay Culkin.
Right.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin. You said it right.
And, ooh, who said that? I don't know. I can't even think of it. But anyways, it's wicked. It's so wicked. It's so wicked. And then, right, so back to the documentary that I watched. It was like An Open Secret. I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name of the movie, misspeaking the name of the movie, but An Open Secret, I believe that's what it's called. It was literally like sex trafficking. That's like the vibe it was. Like the whole operation of this thing was like sex trafficking, because they'll have these scouts, you know, looking for pictures of little boys, and then they'll have their parents come in with the boy and then convince the parent to give the kids over. Which, by the way, I just want to say this. Any parent who would agree to give their child to an adult that I don't even care if it was a family member, like just in like a stranger, or just like a 40-year-old man, or even a 40-year-old woman that you barely don't know from a can of paint, you trash. Like, I wouldn't even do some shit like that with a family member. Just here, take my kid for 6 months and make them a star. Like, what? Nope. You don't know what they're doing to that kid.
Exactly.
Like, I seen this post online, right? And I pray to God that it was an innocent act and a good act by somebody. But there was this person who posted a picture of this stranger with her son. The stranger saw her son shooting a basketball into a garbage can, and then he went out and bought the boy a basketball hoop to shoot it in. And the parent took the picture of the guy with her son and posted how a random stranger did this for her son, and everybody's talking about how great that is. I really hope that was just a genuine act of, you know, good, because that's awesome. But knowing how grooming works, that is also a sign that he could potentially be, not saying he is, a freaking pedophile. That's how pedophiles work. What they'll do is they'll do some shit like that, make you think they're just the best person in the world, and now they just popping up on your kid randomly when you ain't around, talking to your kid. Your kid already trusts them because they done bought them a freaking basketball hoop, and now they making your kid do some wild shit in their car somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you really just gotta watch your kids at every turn. You don't
Not even
know.
that.
Like
You gotta watch out. Like you said, you gotta watch your kid, but you gotta go online and look up the sex offenders and see who's in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Because them motherfuckers in your neighborhood can be sitting there watching your kid and you don't even know it. They can be up in your window just watching your kid the whole day and you don't even know it because you don't even know a fucking sex offender is in your fucking neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's what I said. Like I don't. Parents, it's hard because I told you at the end of the day, it starts with them. It starts with them and it ends with them. If you know what you're doing, if your kids, if you teach your kids, you know what I'm saying? I remember back in the day, they used to show us videos in school about strangers and shit like that. If you see a stranger try to talk to you, you know, scream stranger danger type shit. You know,
right.
I rarely hear about that shit nowadays. And nowadays is more wicked than back in the day.
Yeah.
But
shit is wicked out here, man. You don't know who you can trust. Like real shit, you don't know. You don't know. You it could be your own parent. Like that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like there's plenty of situations where a kid gets touched by their grandparent. Like you just don't know. You don't know who you can trust. So don't trust nobody.
Definitely in the black family. I'm not just saying in black families, but a lot. I'm saying, but I know a lot of black families. That's what usually happen in black families more than, you know what I'm saying, like happening outside of a family. I mean, I don't understand, like, if you get me, but a lot of people will keep it on a hush hush. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you want to be real, let's get back to the entertainment. Like you were saying earlier, Raz B. This nigga had a whole manager. You know what I'm saying? And
family
on TV.
Member.
I laid there on the floor. Chris was on the bed. Marques was right there next to me. Once he tried to penetrate me, and then I told him I was bleeding. I said, it hurts. Wow, what the fuck? It hurt, dude. It hurt. It hurt me. I'm a kid. So he was like telling me that it's okay. So I was like, okay, it's okay. He put a dick in my booty hole, bro. And fucked me, my nigga. With Chris laying on the bed, watching with the big ass polo, teddy bear, and the big ass pillows on the bed. Fucking me. And watching. That shit not cool, bro.
Are you talking about the same room with the burgundy stuff in there?
What?
Was at the time when you was in the room, was the couch like red burgundy, like the burgundy couch? Was it burgundy? No, it was blue.
It was his bedroom.
Chris's room.
I was laying outside the bedroom. I was in Chris's bedroom. He had big ass polo pillows, and he had a polo teddy bear with a polo shirt on the teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was laying out.
Are you talking about did Chris had? Are you talking about that wooden bed Chris had, that real high wooden bed?
Yes, nigga.
Yeah, I know about that bed. Hey, on the side of that bed, on the left of it, was that little glass jar with the change in it, and the little like futon?
Oh my God.
Was there a little?
How do you know about that? Because you were younger than me.
Huh?
How do you know about that? I said, how do you know about that? You were younger than me, so how do you know about that?
Quentin, I'm trying to tell you, I walked through the same thing what you walked through. That first time that Marques ever put his dick in my booty was in that room too.
So Marques fucked you too?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
That happened.
Yeah, you're right. And again, and on TV, we're looking on the outside in. You know, we just seeing a group dancing and singing and shit like that. But in reality, this motherfucker was getting fucked. You know what I mean? Or this motherfucker was getting molested. Yeah. And when he started saying it, you know what I'm saying? Niggas looking at him like he was crazy. But in reality,
people started calling him gay.
yeah, but in reality, yo, it was like, yo, I was a kid. He knew what he was doing, you know. And then when he played the audio clip of the dude apologizing and shit like that, and Raspy kept saying, "Yo, my ass still hurts, and shit like that. That makes you realize, yo, like, yo, what the fuck is these niggas really doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This dude had his whole career. This dude was his manager. He was his road dog. You know what I'm saying? This dude was everywhere. He took care of everything for him just to have him at the end of the night get fucked by him. You know what I mean? Like, that's some wicked shit. You can have any fucking female or whatever, or any dude if that's your preference. But why would you go after these little kids that you're trying to make famous, and why you go after the little kids, period?
Right.
That's what I don't understand about these fucking pedophiles.
That's just wicked, yo. And with the Raspy situation, I remember people calling B2K gay. I remember that. I remember almost every dude that I knew was they would say B2 gay, B2 gay this, B2 gay that. And when you look at the pictures, the posters that we used to have on our walls, all them shits was suspect. Yeah. All them.
I think it was one picture with them motherfuckers like in bed. I remember the one that was in bed with just in their drawers or something. And I was like, whoa, hold up, bro. Who approved that? like who said, hey, it's a good idea for y'all to take a picture in your boxers all in the same bed together? Or I want y'all to take a picture stacked up on each other. Like, who approved that shit? Yeah.
Exactly.
That's some suspect shit.
And then we have to stop telling, when a boy comes out and says, hey, this happened to me when I was a kid, stop calling them gay. Like, that shit pisses me off. Like, first of all, men don't speak on their trauma half as much as women do. And women don't even, and half the women who get touched don't even speak out themselves because their parents don't believe them. Family members don't believe them, or they're afraid of what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But then on top of that, the boys, they can't even speak about it or even feel comfortable speaking about it because y'all gonna call them gay. They already, half the time when some shit like that happens to them, they have identity situations where they're confused about their sexual identity because, you know, sometimes when you get touched, you enjoy it. Sometimes, like, they don't know why their body is betraying them. That's what it's called. People feel like their body's betraying them because they actually enjoy the feeling of whatever's happening. And they have to deal with the mental trauma of that and being a guy and being told, like, you know, this is what boys do, men do, whatever the case is. And then fearing that if they say something that they're going to be called gay or put down in a derogatory way by being called, you know, something that they're not sure that they are, or whatever the situation is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all have to stop doing that. Y'all really have to stop using the word gay as a derogatory term because y'all don't know whose mind y'all fucking up. Y'all don't know. Because it could be a stranger right now watching this shit, scared to speak up, but wants to, but is afraid.
A lot of times, when it comes to boys not speaking up, you know, a lot of times we do go through, you know, being molested and shit like that, but we don't look at it being molested, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, you know what I'm saying, like, niggas will say, oh yeah, my first time was with my babysitter, you know what I'm saying? Not knowing that, yo, you was really getting raped, my nigga, you know what I'm saying? But in his mind, it was like, nah, I wasn't getting raped, you know what I'm saying? I was enjoying it, whatever, but she knew what she was doing. She was raping you, but you don't want to say it was really rape because just have that label like, yo, nigga, you was raped. It don't sound right to niggas. You know what I mean?
Because of what they're conditioned to believe from growing up. You know what I'm saying? They're, first of all, they're already being pressured by whether it's a cousin, an uncle, a brother, whatever, to want girls. Oh, you know, when you start getting girls, this and that, this and that. And then once a female touches them, if they were to speak out, what would they say? Oh, why you crying like a little bitch? Oh, you should like that type of shit. Be a man. men ain't supposed to cry. These are the things that are taught to boys, and I don't like this shit.
Back to the topic.
R. fucking Kelly, bitch. R. fucking Kelly.
Man, listen.
Nigga.
Listen. Oh man. Oh man, listen. Listen. All right, I gotta prepare for this one. All right, now this one actually was tough for me because I used to listen to R. Kelly since I was little. You know what I mean? I listened to damn near all his songs, and when that sex tape came out, I remember seeing it, and they was like, "Oh, she's underage," and shit like that. We should have already knew better with the whole Aaliyah situation. God rest her soul. You know what I'm saying? But niggas turned a blind eye because I guess it was because he was R. Kelly. But niggas couldn't turn a blind eye when it was actually on video and what he
that was our generation
did.
Before us.
Exactly. But then what he did on that video to the young girl, our generation made that like they try to make it a mockery. Try to make just it was a funny thing. You know what I mean? That's why they always making jokes about it. But then recently when all those women started to come out and that whole surviving R. Kelly situation, then you start to realize, like, damn, this dude really has issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, maybe all of them women that was saying might not have been truth, but it's damn near some truth in what they were saying. And you have to start thinking, like, damn, this dude really has a sick mind because, again, he could have got any woman that he wanted. Why he keep getting one after these young girls? Why is he... You know what I'm saying?
You know why? Because he was touched when he was a kid. That's why. That's exactly why.
I understand that, but
he was molested by his sister, and it did what I said before. It made him hypersexual. His first interaction with sex was he was molested by a neighbor, right? He was molested by a neighbor, a grown man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Him.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Then he was molested by his sister, his older sister as well. And it made him hypersexual. And this is not to excuse his actions at all. He's trash. He deserves to rot in jail, period. But if you want to know why he was doing it, that's why. It's because he is a pedophile, not by hereditary, but by him being fucking sexually abused as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And it made him hypersexual, and a lot of times when a person is sexually violated, two things can happen. They can either never touch a person because they don't ever want nobody to go through what they've been through, or it can make them feel like they want to become the predator so that they don't ever have to be the prey because they felt like being a prey.
You felt weak.
And they want to be in the position of power, so it makes them become predators, which doesn't excuse it. They're still foul. They still are wrong for what they do. But that's just the psychology behind it.
Let me ask you a question. So, do you think, okay, Oprah and Gail, do you think they were right for doing that interview with R. Kelly, but not blasting Harvey? Hold on, but not blasting Harvey Weinstein up, or coming out publicly and saying nothing? Because it sounded like
no, I don't think they're right for that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Because it sounded like they were when it comes to black males, they're like lock loaded, ready to do whatever to bring his reputation down. But when it comes to the white celebrities that they're friends or associates, they're on a hush hush.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's fair, or do you think that's common in the media world?
This was my opinion on that situation, right? Because I've actually had debates about this with people before. Anyways, I feel like there's multiple things that could possibly be going on with Oprah. I don't know about Gail so much because I don't really know about her like that. But as far as Oprah goes, I feel like Oprah has spoken about the fact that she was raped in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? By a family member. So she might have a psychological vendetta against black men. That might be what be happening. But I think another thing that also plays into that as well is the fact that she is Black, and the fact that these white people run shit. They run shit. They still in charge.
Yeah.
And when you come up in the generation that Oprah came up, you know, she was one of the first to do it.
Yeah.
One of the first Black, you know, freaking hosts to like really be that big. You already know she done been through the grips of racism throughout her entire career. She's been conditioned relentlessly her entire career. You don't think she went through that shit on a different level than everybody else, being back in that time where if you were Black, you did what you were told. And if you moved out of line, your ass was pushed under the shelf, period. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, the times may have changed, but, you know, old dogs can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I'm saying? She might still be in that, you know, spare massa mentality. And that doesn't excuse, and again, that doesn't excuse the fact that she has not spoken out.
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse it
Yeah.
at all.
I understand Bill Cosby, you know, he's out there for rape or whatever, you know, so it happened 30 years ago or shit like that. And they end up taking the Cosby Show off the air because of those allegations or whatever you want to call it. But you got the dad off of Seven Heaven admitting to molesting little boys. But
the story exploded this fall when TMZ released audio of Collins and his wife while they were undergoing marriage counseling. Audio that included admissions of his sexual misconduct with 3 underage girls.
There was one instance.
But how did you, like, there was one instance what?
Well, this isn't a disclosure, and I told you before, there was one instance wherefore there was one moment of touching.
Unbeknownst to Collins, Faye had secretly recorded every disturbing word. When did you realize she was wearing a wire?
She took me into a stairwell, and she told me there, she revealed that, she said, I recorded. I was wearing a wire. I recorded that session. And she said, here's our settlement. You're going to sign it now, or that recording is going to find its way to the media.
When you exposed yourself to his 10-year-old sister, did you have an erection?
No. I mean, no. Partial, maybe.
Partial erection?
Maybe, yes.
How did you talk to her? What kinds of things did you say?
What is it that
What?
you're looking for?
How did you talk to her? What kinds of things did you say?
The exposure happened a couple of times.
A couple of times. You told me once.
No, I said on the list it happened several times. I said on the disclosure.
Several times. Oh, you have to understand I was being shot in the face with a shotgun. So several times.
It happened
with a 10-year-old. Okay.
Well, no, she was 11 and then like 12 and 13. There was never any conversation around it.
There was
one instance.
But how did you, like, there was one instance what?
Well, this isn't a disclosure, and I told you before, there was one instance wherefore there was one moment of touching where her hand, I put her hand on my penis.
You put her hand on?
Yes. That was in the disclosure. That was also, I also told you that when, before that, when we were in the hotel.
You gotta understand that, how does that get?
I got it.
Okay.
It lasted a few seconds, and that was the last time anything ever
What were the other girls' names? I want their first and last name.
I don't know his last name.
And who
was the niece of the woman who lived across the way. She is someone I actually saw about 12 or 15 years ago and made an amends to.
Did you date her? outside the realm
Oh,
here? Did you date her after you disclosed? Just wondering, Stephen. I need to know.
no.
Okay. How many times with
Once.
and you said that there was another girl. How many girls altogether?
That's it.
No.
No.
You said that there was
Help me out here. There was sister. There was
sister who was 10 because she wrote me when because she was 10. 10, 11, 12, around
Yes.
several years.
There were, I think there were, yes, there were like 3 incidents over about 3 years.
Okay. So, and then there was the girl across the way on and then there's, so it's just 3? You're sure?
Why did they hear that one? For real?
Yes, ma'am. But you got the media on the hush on that one, and they're still showing Seven Heaven on TV. Now, what you can do after this, you can look it up, you can search it. But yes, the dad off of Seven Heaven was on audio stating out how he molested a little boy and how he was sorry and all this, that, and the third. But Seven Heaven is still being showed on different networks. So that's what I'm about to ask you. So
That tells you, man. Go ahead.
yeah, like I said, so again, so that's it there to tell you, it really don't matter, what's the crime. It really just matters your skin color. So you can do the same fucking crime, but the media's going to portray it 2 different ways. You know what I mean? Bill Cosby was a whole fucking, like, it was a whole fucking media circus. But Harvey Weinstein was, oh, it's only really on this network, and then it's swept under the rug.
Let's talk about this, right? Bill Cosby did whatever he did to unfamous white women, right?
Mm-hmm.
If whatever he's been convicted, so we could say he did it, whatever the case is, right? Harvey Weinstein did what he did to superstars, and he took forever to have any type of repercussions. Like, what the
And again,
like the privilege of it all.
And
the privilege of
and
it
it
all.
just came out that he also molested the one of the stars off of the Us movie,
Lupita.
And so that's it there. It shows you the privilege. You know what I'm saying? This country is literally made up of 2 countries. You know what I'm saying? You got the privilege and the non-privilege. And as long as you're white and you have status, then you have privilege. Actually, you don't even need status. As long as you're white, I'm sorry, but as long as you're white, you have privilege. We've seen that with the Capitol Hill shit compared to the Black Lives Matter protests. You know what I'm saying? We see that with the KKK privilege compared to the Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what, they have privilege, they have the power, and it's sad because these motherfuckers are destroying other people's lives, and they don't care because it's only for their gain. It's only for their comfort, their game that they're playing.
Right, and that's the way it was designed. This is not by coincidence, by design. That's the way the system was created. And like they said, for many years they didn't even consider us human.
Yeah.
We were considered animals. So, when the stipulations were created and all of these fucking laws went into place or whatever the case is, that shit, it wasn't to benefit us. That was shit to make them feel more comfortable with us being around. Like, yeah, we're gonna let these N-words be around y'all, but look, we still gonna keep it to where y'all still in power, so y'all ain't gotta act too crazy. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like, that shit was never for us. This shit was never for us. And if you think that they would have made the laws and everything to where it was equal right after slavery, that shit wasn't gonna hit the fucking fan. What do you think was gonna happen? What?
And you're right. But again, yo, and you really have to look at how they only look at us for entertainment. Either it's the shut and dribble or run and jump, catch a ball, entertain us, make us laugh.
Right.
You know what I mean? They really just look at us for entertainment. That's it. They don't want us to be owners. That's why if you really look at sports or you really look at, you know what I'm saying, who's really owning stuff, you know, we just seen that Nick Cannon don't really own Wild 'N Out.
Right.
You feel me? Even though that was his show, he don't really own it.
Yep.
So what do we really own? These motherfuckers got they got a grip, and that's why I said they must have something on the celebrities that make them do what they do, because ain't no way in hell I'm giving my kid up to a fucking producer or director for whatever reason. And the casting couches, that's real. That casting couch shit, yes, that's some real shit. When they be like, oh, you know, we have a movie and we might give it to you, but what can you do for us? And the person could be fucking 8 years old, 9 years old type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's too common, yo. That shit is like pissing me
listen,
off.
Los
That shit is too common.
Los
It's too
Angeles
common.
is really Los Angels. That's what it stands for. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing but demons there, yo. We really want to be real. That's a wicked ass place. People are really doing everything to try to go there. For what?
To become a star.
Is it worth it?
But what are y'all opinions on the situation? Comment below. Let us know what y'all think. What do you think about, you know, pedophilia at home and in the community? Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yeah.
But look, I know you gotta go, so go ahead and plug your YouTube channel again.
Check me out at YouTube on JJ187. You know what I mean? And again, Big's Life, the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and yeah. Again, shout out to the squad. You know, Joanne, Sheen, Shauna. You know what I mean? Shout out to my homeboy Gerald. He in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. Just, you know, like I said, 2021, we're gonna do it big. Oh, and shout out to Honey, man. Let's be real. Shout out to Honey, yo. She be blessing y'all with some fucking great content, yo. Shout out to her,
God.
yo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check me out on YouTube. You already know it's Tea with Honey, and we'll catch you on the next video. Love you guys.
Peace.
Oh,